The first thing I have to ask you, Conscious, is who is an icon to you?
Like, do it got to be modern or do it got to be history? Like, do you got a certain time
No,
period?
you
'Cause
can be whatever you want it to
I'm
be.
answering both ways. For me, like historically, Huey P. Newton is the icon that changed my life forever. And
Yeah.
then right now in the status quo, I feel like I go back and forth between Tabitha Brown
Okay.
and Issa Rae. Like to me, them two are like the modern day icons. If I was able to actualize, you feel me, the capital and the influence of
Yeah.
consciously, it would I wanted to look something like what, you know what I'm saying, with Tabitha and Issa's doing. They to me, they live in the social media dream.
That's funny because Huey and Issa are both on my list as well. Like Huey, listen, to die for the people is the reason why I had my Rikers rally. Like I had that because I was reading it and he was talking a lot about what the Black Panthers did. And one of the programs, the endeavors that they took part in was that they would bus people to the prisons, because what people don't realize is that prisons and jails are intentionally made inconvenient to access, right? For two different reasons. One, it keeps people, if you don't see, it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't see prison, you don't see jail. It removes those people from the consciousness
Mhm.
that feels like beyond you. And two, it keeps them isolated from community, from their families, and that help then, which is a form of torture, and to make it harder for those people to rehabilitate back into society. And that way, it keeps generations locked in that. So that's funniest on my list. And Issa is my production dreams. Like,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
so
No
I have you
brainer.
here, Conscious, in this formal capacity because I want you to get your flowers, and I also want one body of work where we really get to know, like, the man behind you. Let's learn George how Consciously came to be.
Yeah.
So how'd you develop your platform? How'd you end up on social media?
I ended up on social media. Um, Taking it seriously 2 weeks after my daughter was born. My wife has always been like in the nursing field, and when she had my daughter, she had to take off for leave. As a result, you know what I'm saying, we had to make some money. At that time, I was a debater, and I was, you know what I'm saying, I was a debate coach. And I went and I had to go coach debate or teach debate to high schoolers in University of Texas 2 weeks after my daughter was born, and left a nasty taste in my mouth. Like, damn, it's far as out here that ain't really trying to be with their kid, and I'm trying to be there. And I really felt, it really made me feel this type of way that my daughter was only 2 weeks old and I had to leave. You know what I'm saying, to go make
Yeah.
some money. You feel me? So at that same time, I came across this article. You feel me? I don't remember what the article was, or even who wrote it, but it said something like the average American had a phone in their hand for 8 hours out the day, and I think 5 of those hours was on like social media. You feel me? At
Yeah.
that time, I used to wake up and go see what they posted on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? World Star Hip Hop, or what they posted on ESPN, and thought like, what would it look like for somebody to wake up and be like, I wonder what George Lee Consciously is posting, and recognize that I wanted to be able to dictate my time and my value to make it where I can be the best father, husband, man I can be, and feel like shit. Social media. I feel like in 2016, I already identified social media as being a vehicle that can give me the type of autonomy that I'm looking for. That's the word I'll use.
That is interesting that you say that, because I think sometimes when people perceive you as a talking head, they think that you're just espousing, philosophies that you don't relate to or you haven't lived. Like I know with me, people like to be like, oh, when you experience crime, as though you have it. So I think it's beautiful that
Yeah.
it kind of shows how you started from the same struggles that you're speaking to, and recognizing that we have a system in this capitalist society that we live in that doesn't prioritize or value family raising, that they don't give you, that you don't have the ability to take the time that you should be entitled to in order to be with your family. And so
Mhm.
that's how you ended
Yeah.
up.
And then the other thing too is I was already doing public speaking. I was already doing workshops and facilitations and keynotes and panels before I got on social media, before I was consciously. And my mindset was, the reason why I'm not getting booked the way I want to be booked, or the reason I'm not getting opportunities the way I want them to, because I'm not doing the marketing and the campaigning and the promoting that I need to do. So I saw the two reasons why I started doing the platform and taking it more serious, you feel me, was being able to dictate more of my time, effort, and energy by, you know what I'm saying, promoting my services, you feel me, while also being able to, turn it into something. I ain't gonna cap it. what it's turned into, I didn't fully expect to turn into this. Right, I wake up
Yeah.
every day and be hella grateful that, like, damn, my country ass from small Bryan, Texas, got all these people that know who I am and this, that, and the other. Sometimes it feel unreal. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't
Yeah.
really expected to proliferate the way it did, but I definitely was being intentional about promoting and advertising the skills, like how the consciously.com. I do workshop facility, all that still, you know what I'm saying? Educational consultant, blah, 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 blah.
And what do you think made it pop the way it did? What do you think about you or about your platform? And when did it really hit?
I think that it first started growing. I started taking social media serious in 2016. I was
Oh, you've
lost
been
in the
on here.
sauce. Huh?
Oh, you've been on here.
Yeah, but like, I was lost in the sauce though, and only trying to build locally. You feel me? So I was
Hmm.
only making content. I was busting my ass making content. I spent 5, 6 hours on a video, but I would only post it to Facebook. You feel
Mm,
me? Facebook, where in Bryan, Texas, they ain't trying to hear about no homophobia, transphobia, white supremacy, racism like that. You feel me? So I
right.
got discouraged and felt like, damn, the people around me that I know and love, they don't want to support me. You know what I'm saying? So I took
Yeah.
it personal. Now I understand, like, if you're gonna do this work, you got to accept that, you know what I mean? The biggest, supporter is probably gonna be a stranger, and somebody you know and love is probably gonna be your biggest hater. If you don't take that personal and take it on, you probably can do this work. If you can't, it's not impossible, but it's gonna make it very difficult. You know what I'm saying? You can take it as a truism. Uh, that's how I started though. Like, I started doing on YouTube, very, very, very unsuccessful on both of these platforms, and then I started making content on Instagram. It
Yeah.
wasn't until 2019, the summer, that I discovered TikTok. And
Mm,
me being on TikTok for 2 months, everybody was dancing and singing and doing comedy. Nobody was talking about social issues.
yeah.
But once I started talking about social issues, I literally went from having, I feel like, 200 followers to having like 10,000 damn near overnight. And at that
Yeah.
time, like, that number was big for me because I barely had probably like 5,000, 6,000 followers on Instagram, and I had been on there for 5 or 6 years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's how it started.
Oh, that is for I didn't know your origin. I didn't know your origin story. By the time I knew you, you were already consciously like you were already much bigger than we. How did you come up with consciously in the first place? Like going by consciously, because that's excellent. That's the most beautiful branding.
I actually got the name from my one of my best friends and my college policy debate partner from East Oakland. He's, you know what I'm saying, he was raised by a Black Panther. His grandma, he started, you feel me, playing with me and throwing in a word and throwing a name around conscious with me, and I felt like I liked it, so I took it. You know what I'm saying? I owned
Yeah,
it. You feel me?
I like
And
that.
when I was in college debate, I used to rock dashikis and Jordans every debate tournament, every debate round.
I love it.
As a result, you feel me? I'm 6'1", 6'1.5" with locks. I'm rocking. I got a real stigma of being a hotep.
Yeah,
You feel
I
me?
can imagine
And it
that.
was something that I used to reject but flirt with because I got it. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
am a Pan-Africanist. You feel me? I do
yeah,
believe, you know what I'm saying? I do rock with Pan-African and Black nationalism. I don't remember me wrong. I would say a new age. I ain't with the misogyny, patriarchy, transphobia shit, but I get it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I started to dabble in the conscious community.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like in the conscious community, they weren't moving consciously. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So in my mind, it's like a play on words, and the eyes of Ra. I got the wings of Ra tattooed on my arm, and it stands for, like, the power and consciousness. So I feel like I was already kind of flirting with it. You know what I'm saying? I just owned it. But when I first started doing social media on Twitter, my first Twitter name was like G Lee the Great.
G Leader Great is hard. My big sister goes by Abby the Empress on social media. That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Um, what was I gonna say? It for what I had something in my brain, but wow, age. I had it and then I forgot the minute you said G Leader Great. I got stuck on that, like, oh, that's popping. I know, I remember what I was gonna say. Boom, because we said G Leader Great and we're talking about the conscious community. What do you think about, how do you feel about this effort to like demonize consciousness? Like the way people will call you, like, if you Google woke lawyer right now, because that's what the post calling me, my name comes up, and like, or and this effort to make it feel like that's innately this bad thing, or this disparaging thing that people should be like. I feel like people expect us to want to run away from that. Like I should be issuing like, oh, I'm not a woke lawyer, or you know what I mean, I'm not conscious. How do you feel about that?
We talked about Huey P. Newton. I start all my speeches usually with a little quote he got about power. In my mind, those things are how the alt-right, how the conservatives, how white supremacy attempts to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. For y'all that don't know, that's what Huey P. Newton defines power as, the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. I think the way that mainstream tries to bastardize concepts and words that come uniquely from the black community, try to make us distance ourselves from it. I think it's like a part of the social fabric of the country. And I think that the bigger issue for me is when people in our community pick up on those speaking points that trivialize wokeness or consciousness, or you feel me, being progressive, and it's like, hey, y'all are parroting the same speaking points and shit that come from people that's anti you, but you hate people in your community so much you linking up with the white supremacists. It's almost like you hate people in your community more than you hate white supremacy, and that's the reason why we having beef. Because it's like a lot of the things they try to say about being woke to you that New York Times said to you, I would argue that a lot of people on like Twitter or YouTube try to use that same hubris of thinking to try to push words, especially like being woke. You feel me? Or being conscious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody else try to universalize their particular understanding of consciousness, and it's their perception of me, and they don't recognize that I see it as just that. That's your perception of me. It's not
Right.
the reality of who consciously is or how I'm moving. You feel me? I
Right.
recognize that the more you push back from it, the more folks get mad at it, and the more those individuals start to pick up on the speaking points that's made by the white supremacists.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? Like with the because in the work that we do and the work that you do is centered around helping Black people and a love for Black people and community. How do you deal with the reality that there are a lot of Black people that unwittingly, don't recognize it, but they have internalized a lot of these tenets of white supremacy, and it's a lot. So you end up getting a lot of Black people pushing back and fighting you and in some ways making you the enemy. You know what I mean? Like you're doing what's wrong and what you're advocating. How do you deal with that?
I've learned how to compartmentalize the boos and the cheers, and I've learned how to make it where my production and my hope, you feel me, and my, you know what I'm saying, like the shit I believe in is not fueled by the engagement or the haters or the affirmation. What I know is that separate the noise from the sounds, and not always try to make it where all of the criticisms is just, you know what I'm saying, noise, or it's coming from haters. You feel me? I don't like what content creators can't face the funk when it comes to criticisms and can't really address them because you feel like everybody's criticizing you. They all haters. So what I've learned how to do is I feel like move with complexity. I know how to now discern the noise from the sounds and recognizing that I don't need to respond to all the noise. You feel me? I should be listening for the sounds, and also acknowledging that I should never try to gaslight my supporters that's being critical of me. I think that I've done a good job of cultivating a community virtually that's not on no fuck shit. It's like if they think that I'm being immoral or unethical, I think that I've cultivated an audience that can call me out on it, and I'm very receptive to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just being able to decipher, you feel me? I feel like intentions and like that sound from the noise. But that's really how I learned how to do it. And being real, I've started it to tell people around me, because now I'm getting bigger now, where people start to go after sisters and wives and daddies and cousins. You know what I'm saying? So shit, what I've learned, I've taught them, and I learned it first is like, let's not let the haters define your experience on social media, or let's not let strangers' perception of you define you so much where I start second guessing myself. So I've learned to just be like, man, I don't know you from a can of paint. I don't know you. You feel me?
Right.
Like, boy, fuck you. It's really hard to learn. Being real, like, man, fuck you. I ain't got. Or it's like, okay, that's fine. Move on. Like, that's how I feel.
How did you, so that gives me two questions, right? Because the first thing I want to ask is like, how did you get to that? Like, when was the time you felt like your community called you out or called you in rather, and you felt receptive to that? Like, okay, they were right, and I maybe need to look at something differently. And two, in terms of how them coming after your family and people now, how do you deal with that? Because that is a thing I myself trying to navigate and also to anticipate, because like my partner, my boyfriend, I'm ready to fight if somebody were to say something about my boyfriend on social media. I'm telling you, I posted, like, I've really only ever seen one, because I only even recently started even posting pictures of my boyfriend, and I've been with my boyfriend. And so I only give, the occasional picture. I really don't talk about my relationship because to me, once you start talking, that's when everybody feel like they could offer some, they'll say you invited it. And so no, sir. So
Definitely.
I don't talk at all. But I even one time I posted just like a picture of me and my boyfriend. We had the cutest Christmas photos. I posted one and one of my followers came with like, oh my God, Olay, I'm not gonna lie, this is horrifying or something. And I think it's just because like my boyfriend was like, his head was above me, on some of them green lines type shit, like the opposite of that. Like when I can like, and I was like blocked, like blocked.
Hold on, you got
I,
blocked?
I blocked them. No, I blocked them.
I'm about to
No,
say
I
they
blocked them
blocked
for
you?
annoying the
Yeah.
shit out of me. Like what? Like so, how's that something you deal with? Because you get a lot of. I see people they don't, and people don't tell the truth. That's another thing. It's like people don't care about the truth. They will literally just make shit up when people don't like you or whatever. They will twist it, and I see that happen a lot to you when it comes to family perception online. So how are you dealing?
Man, I feel like I sometimes it bothers me, most times it don't, being real with you. I know that it's certain people that's invested into discrediting my work. I'm a former
Yeah,
debater. I make a lot of analysis, I make a lot of arguments. Folks ain't good at responding to arguments and analysis. They gotta make character assassinations, they gotta attack the debater. So for me, it's like shit. I'm a Hall of Fame college policy debater. You feel me? From
yeah,
2010 to 2020, I'm ranked in the top 20 in the decade through the whole country as an individual person and as a pair of me and my partner, I'm saying Rasheed Campbell. A lot of the ways that people try to comfort me, I already dealt with it in a different perspective and sometimes the same perspective at the highest level of competitive policy debate you can think of. So for me,
yeah.
it's really laughable a lot of times when people try to come with me with these old surface level arguments and surface level jargon about red herrings and this, that, and it's like, listen, man, I'm a seasoned policy debater that's a Hall of Famer, and I also won a national championship as a debate coach.
Yeah.
I know how to mean what I say and say what I mean. And being real with you, the first job I had after I graduated college was being a debate coach, where I
Yeah.
eventually became the director of debate. I made a living off of being disagreed with. I made a living off of making competing interpretations. I made a
Yeah.
living off of dealing with folks that's playing with me, my name, my perspective, my framework. I made a living off of that. You feel me? What folks do on Twitter, it ain't a lot of difference, you know what I'm saying, than how they did in college policy debate when I was busting their ass in cross-examination. So for me, it's like now I'm learning how to mitigate the educator and the debater, and you know what I'm saying, when I'm ready to let you see George Lee from the west side of Bryan, Texas. Now I'm trying to be much more strategic in how I do that, because I don't think
Yeah.
everybody don't deserve, you feel me, my time, effort, and energy, and everybody down so don't deserve to meet George Lee. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, consciously. As most people know me, that's what you know. You don't know George. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes though, I think it's very important to let George come out and let people know, like, listen, don't get it twisted with the big words and the degrees, this, that, and the other. I'm from the same environment that you from. So if
Yeah.
you gonna pop your shit like that, just know, you feel me, like I'm gonna pop my shit as well.
Yeah.
And whatever you down with, but once I'm there, I'm gonna be down with it too. And I know me learning I got ADHD made it where now I
Oh,
can
me
be much more
too.
mindful of my emotions. You feel me? I ain't gonna let no, I ain't gonna let my executive dysfunction and go to the point where I'm just ready to, you know what I'm saying, crash out, how we say in the hood. And I know that
Yeah.
on social media, that's really what folks want. You clout
Yeah.
chasing. You want to get some engagement. You wanna piggyback off of the visibility of
They want you
consciously.
to acknowledge them so they can use your name and people going through it or whatever in order to gain traction. And when they talk about you, if you respond, that puts them above the regular haters because now they can make it like y'all and them are in a feud or
I
back
was
and
like,
forth.
nah.
I realized that. That's why let me tell you something. When I really can't stand a motherfucker, they talk about me on YouTube, they make a whatever hate video, they will never have proof that I know about it because I'm not gonna help you gain
Oh
no
yeah,
traffic on your
definitely.
thing.
And yeah.
And sometimes I'll fucking let me tell you, if I see you trying to make a hate video about you about me that you've named in a way to like bounce off the algorithm of one of my videos, you don't know how fast your girl will change the name, the thumbnail, the everything. Your video will
Well,
die.
definitely.
um,
Definitely.
when was the time you felt like your audience called you in and you were receptive to that? Like you went back to the drawing board and thought, I got this one wrong.
I got three different examples. I go with the more recent one. I go with the more recent one. You feel me? And two, because I'm curious to your perspective, because I definitely want to be a part of that conversation. The recent one is me being able to decipher the haters, the red pill, blue pill, alpha male, pandering for male validation dudes from
Yeah.
the people that's genuinely care about black women and concerned about black women, that feel like, hey, the way that Rose said it happened that way. You
Yeah.
feel me? So me being able to be receptive and being like, all right, I see y'all perspective and what y'all feel like happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going off on the media headlines being that this girl made it up completely. When you
Yeah.
read the article, it actually says that it didn't go down the way she said. Now
Right.
that's two different things. Did she make the whole entire thing up, or did it not go that way she said it did? So me making
Right.
my video was about, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, consciously, the police said she made it all up. Y'all ain't read the article. I read the article, and the article said that she wasn't hit with a brick, she was hit with a bottle. I think that me being able to be receptive of like, hey, but you do gotta address that the way she said it happened ain't the way she said it happened. Even
Yeah.
if you don't want to call her a lie, you gotta address that. For me, it was like, okay, I see, I see y'all concern, and I see why y'all, you know what I'm saying, feeling some type of way about the analysis. So I was able to go back and apologize and admit, hey, two things can be true at the same time. She was in fact a hit by a grown ass man with an object, but
Yeah.
her story wasn't the way she said it was. You know what I'm saying? She lied about how it happened, but she still was hit though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
And it took a lot of it took about, I feel like shit about 3-4 days for me to come around to it. But you know what I'm saying, that's what happened. And then shit, when I first started getting big, in TikTok, you know what I'm saying, TikTok started to become more popular. There was this like, I thought it was a trans woman making content, just, you know what I'm saying, being a comedian. You feel me?
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a white dude that does. It was like, you know, that Ogoli shit. It's called Ogali, whatever it's called, OGLE. It was some platform people was using on TikTok to make it where me and you on there and random people just pop up. You just talk to people, right? He would show up, you know what I'm saying, visibly as, you know what I'm saying, a film, you know what I'm saying, as a woman basically, and then he'll let the dude talk, you know what I'm saying, and then shit, he'll bust out, you know what I'm saying, shit with his deep voice. I have meaningful relationships with trans people, with trans women particularly, and I know
Yeah.
some of them to play like that, you know what I'm saying. So I laughed, you feel me,
Right.
in the
Oh.
comment section. But to me, that wasn't the big issue, right? The
Yeah.
big issue was there were like 2 or 3 people, you know what I'm saying, 2 or 3 of my trans followers that seen it, and that was like in the comment section, like, damn, this really hurt my feelings, X, Y, and Z. Instead of me taking time to really think about what was going on, I
Yeah.
jumped into defense mode, like, what? I
Right.
ain't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like almost like, because I'm not fully aware of how I offended you, but I'm gonna apologize 'cause I see how I offended you. And I literally said that in the, you know what I'm saying, the shit. So it kind of is
Yeah.
just disingenuous, you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
able to have some conversations with people around me, and I was able to be like, all right, I see if I want to be a public ally for the trans community, I need to be able to be called out in any instance, you know what I'm saying, when I ain't coming, when I ain't putting my fair share to work, or when I'm not meeting up to who I say I am, what I'm doing. If I
Yeah.
can't take the criticism, I'm no better than the white liberal that jump in his feelings when niggas tell him you ain't doing right. Oh,
Yeah.
no, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how I was able to do it. And then shit, the last example was and the reason why I care about shit, what's going on, you know what I'm saying, over yonder so much is that 2 years ago, Hamas had attacked, you know what I'm saying, it's Israel or whatnot.
Yeah.
I made my video about, you know what I'm saying, I feel like I made the intellectual fallacy a lot of folks was making when they was trying to, you know what I'm saying, think deeply about shallow shit. I
Yeah.
tried to frame Palestinian people as being uniquely Semitic people.
Yeah.
So if you cared about anti-Semitism and you didn't care about them, I said you were anti-Semitic. Of course, the Jewish and Zionist community did not like that at all. And I was able to learn and be schooled on the history of anti-Semitism and having a conversation with this black Jewish woman and this anti-Zionist, you know what I'm saying, a Jewish dude, you know what I'm saying, and shit. We was able to have us a nice little conversation, but I think that those are 3
Is that
times.
the craziest take?
You know,
I don't know if that's the craziest take, but I don't know. I'm not the expert, and I feel like I gotta go have a separate conversation with Mark. Like, was your initial take like wild? Because
my initial take wasn't like
yeah, I'm
I
like that
didn't
don't feel
bite
so
into
wild
like
to
no
me.
crazy like no like conspiracy theories about the
That's
economy
what I'm
or
saying. I'm like
about.
the
I
argument
didn't
in
do that.
and of itself doesn't seem that crazy to me, but I'm also not the expert on these issues.
To me, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Seeing what's going on now, now that I'm more well versed, I
Yeah,
would say that I still stand on the apology because I acknowledge that it was empirically false.
yeah,
The word anti-Semitism was uniquely made and manufactured in opposition to the Jewish identity. Not
yeah,
everybody that's, you know what I'm saying, that's Semitic. Like I did the research, I had the
yeah,
conversation, right? I do think as well, though, the way that conversation folded and made it where Palestinian general welfare identity was not on the thing. I had to literally only talk about anti-Semitism to prove I'm anti-Semitic. I think that I would say now there's definitely a part of the Zionist move to make it where you can never ever think about criticizing the state of Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that two things can be true at the same time, though. I was false. I made a false claim, a false analysis about anti-Semitism, and you feel me? I was pigeonholed into Islamophobia in my mind. You feel me? Because I
Yeah.
like I was like concealed it basically. It's like I ain't gonna talk about
Yeah.
that anymore. And make sure people don't think I'm anti-Semitic. Fuck you, Palestinians.
Right.
It's damn near what I did. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, and that's real, right? Because when October 7th happened, I wanted to do an Olay in France. I ended up putting out a video about Palestine, but that was against advice. Everybody was like, no,
Oh
don't do
yeah.
that.
Oh
XYZ,
yeah.
this is the next thing, like in particular black people, because there was some harsh consequences. How did
Hell
you
yeah.
decide that you would speak on it anyway?
Man, we started this conversation talking about Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? I do I feel like when I was 17 years old, one of my homeboys, one of my best friends named Stacy, he told me, hey, George Lee, you gotta be a man of principle and not pressure. You feel me? Meaning you're gonna always stand on pressure. I'm always stand on principle and never fall under pressure. For me, on principle, I'm a type of dude that's about purpose over popularity. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah, fam.
I'm I'm cool with being the bad guy as long as I think I'm on the right side of morals and ethics. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I already had made my mind up that because I'm gonna move unapologetically in this space, it's gonna be certain opportunities and resources that I'm not gonna get because you got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Free Palestine. You know what I'm saying? All power to the people. You know what I mean? So it's like for me, it was like shit. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is what it is. And for me, it was like you can't say you well versed and you care about oppressed peoples in the world if you gonna allow for the missed opportunities or resources of being a content creator to make it where you silent on this genocide. So for
Yeah.
me, it was like in the same year, I was able to make history in my hood. Ain't nobody, I have to look it up, but I know for sure, black people, ain't no black folks from Bryan, Texas getting invited to the White House.
Yeah.
So in the same year, I got invited to the White House for using my platform, talking about, you know what I'm saying, voting against Trump and making sure we this, that, and the other. Is the same year I lost White House clearance and all type of different opportunities because, hey, you know what I'm saying? Shit, hey, you
Spoke on that.
anti-Semitic or hey, you anti-Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At this point, it's like shit, like it is what it is, man. Free Palestine, and I'm cool with whatever consequences you give me. As a nigga, I think you already give it to me anyway. So for me, it's like I can identify, like, hey, listen, George Floyd wasn't no fucking content creator.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ahmaud
Yeah.
Arbery didn't have no following. You know what I'm saying? Them folks y'all killing over there in Gaza and West Bank and Lebanon, they ain't got no following, no shit like that. So for me, it's like y'all kill people for any reason anyway.
Right.
I'm not finna make it where if I do X, Y, and Z, the fear of what potentially could happen gonna stop me. It's like, no, I grew up in debate. One of the first literature bases I fell in love with was whiteness, but the one that took my debate career to the next level was Afro-Pessimism. And
Yeah.
at heart, I'm really an Afro-pessimist. So it's like, shit, man, I'm cool. Like it is what it is.
I know you always go up for Afro-pessimism, so there's no way we're gonna have an interview and you don't define that for the people. Tell the people
But
about Afro-pessimism
let's
culture.
see. Afro-pessimism is a literature base about how the world is situated upon black suffering. You feel me? Afro-pessimists contend that the middle passage was, they use a fancy ass word, you know what I'm saying, ontological death. It really just means the origin of your being. Their argument is that the middle passage created a whole new being of what it means to be black. What they make the, you know what I'm saying, distinction they make, we're talking about the Jewish identity. They talk about the way that anti-blackness renders black people separate from their flesh and we become a black body and not human. The Afro-pessimists say that, you know what I'm saying, in this rant, that Jews went into the Holocaust as Jew and left as Jew. The rest of the world didn't buy into the ways that the Nazis viewed them in terms of them being captive.
Yeah.
Anti-blackness and Afro-pessimists contend the African got on the boat as African and got off the boat as black, as slave. The entire world bought into viewing the black body the way the slave master did, whether you had means to own a slave or you did not own means that, or you not have the means to own a slave. And then it's like shit, structures. Afro-pessimism is about seeing the world as it is structured and recognizing we can reform it up. We can pray it up. We can do X, Y, and Z. Afro-pessimists contend that the structure of anti-blackness is what we got to get at, and everything else is just, little bitty ways to try to treat the symptoms. But anti-blackness is structural.
How'd you get exposed to Afro-pessimism, and how does it inform the work that you do?
Afro-pessimism I came across Afro-pessimism first from Fernando and Ben Crossan, they used to be debaters at Towson University. Shout out to my people in Baltimore, East Baltimore, West Baltimore. They really had introduced it, I feel like, to the debate community, you know what I'm saying? But that was
Yeah.
the first people I see really just do it. And then it's these niggas that went to Bronx Law. They was 1 year younger than me too, but their name was Demir and Miguel.
Hmm.
These was like the first time in my debate career I seen like some freshmen, especially they talk about like race, come
Yeah.
on the scene and just murder shit, and they did it with Afro-Pessimism. So once like all competition breed copycat. You know what I'm saying? Once somebody once Phil Jackson and Jordan start winning with the triangle, everybody want to do the triangle. So shit, I start winning with it. In order for me to beat you, I gotta understand what's going on. But also
Right.
too, it wasn't many of us, so I picked it up then. But Afro-Pessimism informed my work now about how I'm really able to parse through a lot of the nonsense and bullshit. A lot of
Yeah.
people will try to conflate consciously with a Derrick Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or being the opposite of a Kevin Samuels, or you know what I'm saying, an Andrew Tate. Afro-Pessimism give me the way to make structural analysis and show people that the way you lost in the sauce of individuality or interpersonal shit, it don't really matter like that. When it comes to my politics and my analysis, I'm not telling you about no relationships or a marriage expert. Or, you know what I'm saying? Shit, it informs my work by being able to make these analysis, by talking about impacts, and by being able to center blackness and black people. So if I talk about trans people, I'm talking about black trans people. I'm talking about disabled, black disabled. You feel
Yeah.
me? Poor, black poor. Don't get me wrong. Everything else that matters and exists too, but I'm starting from the framework of black. And that's how
Yeah.
Afro-Pessimism, you know what I'm saying, informs that shit.
How have you reconciled? I can imagine you have a huge audience conscious, and like you said, there are a lot of people, a lot of black people, and probably black men that perceive you as a hotep or think that you're going to speak to a more traditional kind of philosophy versus you are a core ally of the LGBTQ community in general, but specifically the black LGBTQ community, and you are always and for women, and you're always speaking out on those things and bringing that, and you get a lot of ire for it. How do you reconcile that both those communities and representing those different things and deal with like having people that expect you? Because our audiences expect us to speak to what they believe, right? Like not so much like, even though they say they follow you because they want to learn from you and blah blah blah, until they disagree with you or you see something that uniquely goes against their worldview or what idea they've made for you. So how do you deal with that?
To be honest with you, I'm still working through it. Like it still blows my mind that the same people that will affirm the research and the analysis and the vernacular when I'm talking about white supremacy and anti-blackness will be the same people that will literally try to be anti-intellectual when I start applying the same analysis and research and, you know what I'm saying, vernacular to talking about sexism or heteronormativity. I'm able to deal with it by feeling like shit, right is right and wrong is wrong. And it's being like, when it come down to it, I'm really a debater. I don't think I'm gonna lose a debate on it. And I feel like that's how I'm able to hang my hat onto it. And it's just like, it is what it is. If some of us ain't free, then none of us ain't free. I think that a lot of people that oppose me, they lost in the sauce of plantation patriarchy. They want to be like the slave master. They want to emulate and perform their masculinity the same way, you know what I'm saying, the slave master did. And as a result, they only view black people through the lens of productivity, meaning
Yeah.
that they feel you unproductive, you're not valued. You
Yeah.
know who also thought that? The goddamn slave master.
Yeah.
I'm so worried. I'm talking fast. I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying to slow down.
No,
I'm so
you.
worked. What I'll say is, these days I be asking the question of, where are the red pill, blue pill, podcast bro patriarchs when the white supremacists in my comment section saying I only make content about race and I only make content about being a victim, I only make content being a race hustler. I be
Yeah.
worrying, thinking like, damn, what the hell y'all at when these videos come out and these folks in the comment section, because y'all claim I only make videos about sexism and feminism. According to
Right.
y'all, the only reason why I have a platform is because I pander and sip to women. Whole
Right.
time it's like, hey, it's like that is a picture of me as a YouTube black content creator class of 2022. You think them
Right.
white folks reached out to me because I was pandering? Come on, man. It's like when I'm nominated for NAACP Image Awards, you think that organization with all its prestige reached out to me because I'm pandering to black women?
Right.
To me, it comes off as being disingenuous, and it come off as like, shit, y'all transactional. Y'all so transactional with women. Y'all feel like all dudes is. Y'all quid pro quo. Y'all the type of dude say if you buy a woman a drink at the bar, you gotta chase her around because you feel like she owe you something. Y'all feel
Yeah.
like because I'm talking about gender equity and gender progression that I want something in return. So as a result, it make it where when straight men, you feel me, want to talk about progression and gender equity, you got to
Yeah.
worry about the accusations of pandering. And to me, it's like, okay, do you care more about your ego or you care about the livelihood of women?
And it's ego. It's the former. It's
And
the
for me, it's
former.
like shit. I'm willing to not allow for my ego to structure how I respond to dudes and how I respond to my work. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be egotistical to the point where I think that my masculinity being questioned is more important than me using my platform, my voice, my intellect to be able to speak truth to power about gender violence. And what it come down to is niggas be mad. Like you feel like I'm dishonoring my black masculinity because I'm not saying fuck these hoes, fuck these bitches, know your place. That's really what I think.
Right. And dead ass and dead ass. I feel like I get so much of this too. Like every time these people who will follow you and they champion you when you are speaking squarely for the black cis straight person. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
God.
and only them. And the minute anything beyond that, they start saying things that are just patently false. Like people will literally be in my comments saying things like, oh, black trans people, you don't need to say anything for trans people or whatever. Like, they're not doing nothing for you, or gay people, they're not standing with us. And I'm
Right.
just like, you know what's crazy? I'm a person, it's funny to me, right? Like you'll have, or they'll be like, we don't have time for this, or we don't have the capacity to do for this. We need to worry about us. And it's always people who in no way do this work. Like they're black, they don't do any work. They're not advocates. They're not doing any, they're in no way working towards any collective good of any kind. They have no idea what it actually looks like on the ground, who's involved, who's doing work. Because I'm like, in real life, I know nothing but black queer people doing work, doing
You
advocacy
feel
work.
me? Like,
Like more than I know black straight people doing it.
on God, if you're being real, if you be keeping it a stack, and it's just like me making those claims in public, that is what they indict as pandering or simping. You feel
Yep.
me? If there is any type of empirical truth that you can present that disavows how masculinity is constructed, then you simping and you pandering. Even I'm almost in the video I'm about to get ready to drop. It's like shit. I literally make the point. Like it's almost like y'all define simping and pandering as a man acknowledging the human decency of a woman and saying maybe sexual objectification is wrong. Simping, pandering is like, all right, bro, whatever, my nigga,
Instantly.
whatever. And what?
Instantly.
What?
There's
Homoeroticism, man.
there's
Homoeroticism, homophobia.
it's funny because I feel like on the end of black men, that's what they do, right? You simp and you pander and you this, right? Or blah blah blah. But then as a black woman, every time I open my mouth is, yo, you angry, you hate black men, you know you're not gonna, oh, I know you single, I know you sing. The way they scream that in the comments, I literally was just I was actually just reading another, let me just share the kind of things, a comment my boyfriend saying, funny enough. This person said on my Eric Adams interview, black man, boo, embarrassing, Alimi Olurin. You are a disgrace. There is a time and place for everything. She's just a haughty, prideful, bitter, nose in the air, think her shit don't stink, man-hating, argumentative woman, probably single. Guess that's why she's a lawyer. Just probably single. Guess that's
Right.
why she's a lawyer. She just used her fast, loud talking points to gain attention, and she thinks she did something. Did it solve anything? No. Did it get people talking? Yes, of course it did. Mission accomplished, perpetuating the same stereotype as the angry, black, bitter woman. And I know she don't have a man. Who would want to put up with that? Meanwhile, my man in the house with the pom poms, like,
Man, I
like,
say if I'm being derogatory, I've come now to see all type of comments like that. Like when they say it to me, it's like I feel like you dick pulling right now. Like in my mind, you coming off it's like you are being almost like you jealous. Is you jealous that my wife get my time and my attention? You want something? In my mind, like I want to be like, damn, you acting like you want to come over here and do something to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to rub my ass or something, or eat my ass or something. Move around, fam. Move around. Move around. Because in my
yeah,
mind, like, why did you need to say I don't have a man 4-5 times in this tweet? Do you want to be my
right.
man? That's what it sounds like right now. You want to be my man. It's like
It's crazy. Or it's really, to me, it can be incredibly painful. I don't care about what white supremacists and racists and white people say in general. Like,
they
I
don't
don't
say
care
what they
what
say.
non-black people have to say about anything. I don't care. Like, that's fine. Feel good, bad, whatever. I expect they're whatever they're going to be on. But there is something so disheartening about feeling like you're, like, because it makes you feel like you're taking licks from all sides. Like, obviously,
Oh
white
yeah.
people, the establishment, the majority is against you. And then you have your community kicking your back in and peddling the same stereotypes white supremacists would at you, like this idea I'm an angry black woman, a single angry black woman who hates black men and all this bullshit. And it just be like, And it's funny because, like you said to your earlier, where are these people who say you only make content about women and LGBT saying when these white supremacists are saying this? Because not for nothing, the white supremacists saying all I care about is black men criminals, and I only want the black man criminal. There's a group of black women on the internet that hate on me and say I hate women. All I care about is black male criminals and this and next thing. Meanwhile, it's black men saying I hate black men. I'd be like, which is it? I'm constantly getting criticized for saying that I coddle the black man and all I care about is the criminal. And then there's a whole group of people saying, oh, I'm anti. I'm like, could y'all speak with each other? Could
Swear
y'all
to
at
God,
least
I feel
talk and
too.
pick a narrative?
But hey, when I talk about women's issues, I'm trying to get some cat, and that's what I'm looking for. Talk about the LGBT community, I'm down low and I'm closeted.
Oh
Which
yeah,
one
somebody
is
called me
it?
trans today.
You know what I'm saying? Or it's like, hey, you never disagree with women, you never push back on women, this, that, and the other. Whole time having whole ass conversation, losing all type of followers because I said cisgender is not a slur and trans women are
Dog,
women. So it's
get cussed
almost like
out.
you just it's like to me it just come off as being like disingenuous, and you don't realize it, but like the algorithm telling on you, it's
Yeah.
telling me that you have a very resentful, cathartic relationship to the content you consume, and the algorithm know that shit too. That's the
Right.
reason why I make my all my shit is intersectional and interdisciplinary. You
Yeah.
only coming across the content that's using the feminist analysis about gender. This says more about you than it says about me.
Right.
I literally was in the Rolling Stone, Al Jazeera, Mother Jones, CNN for talking about Palestine and being one of the content creators that was invited to the White House that's now being critical on Biden because of Palestine. Those
Right.
same people that's like literally, I'm talking about you are politically ill, you are politically illiterate. You lack
Yeah.
the ability to read and write situations about politics. Those same folks would be like, Conscious Lee is a Fed. Conscious Lee is an agent. Conscious Lee works for the government. Whole time the
Somebody put me at
government
a
literally got
CIA
me
ops
excavated.
days
Like
ago.
I'm talking about to your point, it's like I'm getting on all sides. But I've learned like in debate, it was like that in debate for me. You feel me? Like so I feel like it's kind of normalized. And when I was in college debate, I had to debate against Harvard. I had to debate against where the niggas was at Townsend. And the
Yeah.
next tournament, next round might be against some trans women at Idaho State. The next
Right.
debate might be, and I feel like that's how it's just like shit. It is what it is. And going back to the other question you asked, this how Afro-Pessimism informs my work. I
Yeah.
know that anti-blackness manifests itself in many different ways, and I think that I have a good understanding of the literature, and I feel like a good range to be able to talk about and think about how the way that people, you know what I'm saying, had this vitriol towards black trans women, that's anti-blackness. The way that black men respond to me and how I advocate for black women, that's anti-blackness. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it make it where anti-blackness, the world is anti-black. I would never sit my black ass in a house and cry because the world is anti-black. Hey,
Right.
dogs bark and 2 + 2 is 4 too. These are all truisms. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit around and cry about truisms. You feel me? So for
Right.
me, the world is anti-black. I would never be surprised when a dog bark. It's their nature. They bark. The world is nature's anti-black. So you feel me? I think it'd be dumb for me to believe that people in an anti-black world gonna be immune from anti-blackness, or me thinking I'm gonna be immune from anti-blackness living in an anti-black world. That's how I'm able to resolve it. We all anti-black. The question is, do you know how anti-black are you? You know what I'm saying? You are. Or and the next question is, what are you willing to do about it? That's how I sit away with the shit. It's like, you know what I mean? That's how I know I can't wait till one of these half-baked, no reading ass Negroes come to me and I can really show them, then I can better tell them. I can't wait to like, hey, you can pick when I speak first or last. You can even configure the topic. I got all the money on me. I'm gonna intellectually bust your ass and have whoever state you in gonna be looking for me because they feel like I intellectually assaulted your ass because you could do nothing with me.
You know, that actually makes all the sense in the world why you say education is elevation. I think less people are realizing why that you're an educator. Tell the people, conscious.
I got a master's degree in adult and higher education. I have a master's degree in human relations. I have a
Yeah.
master's graduate certificate in human diversity and development. I have another graduate certificate in women and gender studies. I have a total of 5 pieces of paper. You feel me? For some reason, a lot of people like to play with me and my expertise and believe a Google search amount to the blood, sweat, and tears I didn't put in doing this shit. Or
They
they think
swear it.
that them being able to mash a couple likes or a couple hearts on a tweet, that all of a sudden it negates the research. Your personal experience don't negate these patterns, baby. It's
Yep.
because you didn't experience police brutality. Don't mean no shit. It's because you didn't experience. It's like that's what.
No, you're absolutely correct. What do you have? What does your year look like, Conscious? What do you have in the works? Also, oh, while I have you here, I have to say I don't think I've had an opportunity to congratulate you on your
Oh, yeah.
podcast with
Oh,
Francesca.
yeah.
You got to tell the people about your podcast.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Hey, Black History for Real. It's a podcast that's on Wondery and through Amazon. The people that have been doing real nice to me. Right now, the Black History for Real is a top 20. Well, last time I checked, it was a top 20 ranked history podcast across all podcast platforms. It's a scripted podcast with me and the great Francesca Ramsey, and we really just get into the movers and shakers of history and talk about Black history you probably ain't know about. You know what I'm saying? The first series was about the women of the Black Panther Party: Asada Shakur, Afeni Shakur, Kathleen Cleaver, and Elaine Brown. You know what I'm saying? Which I let I say that. You seen that shit about Elaine Brown? No boys tried to play with me about that Elaine Brown.
You know I missed it, so
Consciously, it's
tell
being
me
an
what I missed.
agent. Oh man, I made a video advertising and promoting the series and
Yeah.
talking about Elaine Brown being the first Black woman to be, you know what I'm saying, the leader of, you feel me? The first one to be
Oh,
leader of
I
the Black
did see
Panther
this when
Party.
they was trying to call her a op.
So I got to call the op because apparently consciously I always get calls out for leaving stuff out. He didn't say this thing. It's like, in this video, I'm telling you to go watch a scripted podcast that's based off of research and Elaine Brown's own accountants, where I have an in-depth conversation uniquely with her relationship that she had with this informant.
Yeah.
Me and Francesca even had a conversation whether or not we thought she was an informant or not. But y'all think I left it out.
The way people be pissing me to fuck off when you make a whole long form content and they don't watch it and start jumping down your fucking throat for what they think it says or doesn't say. Son.
Swear to
Son.
God, like,
Ugh.
yeah, like, just people gonna be willingly ignorant. And what I know is like it's certain shit that's irrational. You know what I'm saying? And Papa said, "Shit, Lil George, you run your ass crazy trying to make some shit rational that's irrational. And I ain't got time for it. It's irrational. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna try to make sense of it. It doesn't make any sense."
But I love the podcast and I love how did that get started? You and Francesca is such a beautiful pairing. I don't know who chose that, but that was right.
Be honest with you, the people at Amazon and Wondery reached out to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had like some little testings and shit. You know, I think that because me and her were mutuals already, we was familiar with each other content.
Yeah.
And I've learned too, you feel me, us being in our little pseudoscience, we both had Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
Yeah.
that Sagittarius energy, us both, I feel like we get it worked. It worked. And I think the contrast, I'm a country ass, you know what I'm saying, like very rugged around the way in certain instances. And shit, Francesca is much more, you feel me, proper, much more fluent background. I feel like the contrast in my mind and make it where we account for so much shit.
And it's so dope. And it is so dope. I love to see it. And I saw you and Francesca put up your cute little video dancing, which makes me wanna talk about that positive light aspect of your platform, right? Because you don't just give people news and education that you also give people like, let's dance.
I try to dance, I try to bust jokes. In my mind, I try to make it where I don't never want nobody to pigeonhole me into always being something. You know what I'm saying? I'm impulsive and you know what I mean? I'm multifaceted. I like to dance and smile and kiki too. So I feel like in my mind, I'm cultivating the channel. All my platforms are channels. You'll get burnt out on the channel if it's always about oppression and violence and crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And I would get burnt out on it. Sometimes I really don't want to think about it. I want to just dance. And for me, I think it's important that Black men, especially straight cisgender Black men, are seen in public spaces having enjoying ourselves and not having to worry about judgment the way we enjoy ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'll be thinking of. But also, it's like shit. That's what I like to do.
What was a moment in the work that you've been doing and across your career where you felt, I feel like you get a few moments where you feel like, oh, I'm doing something meaningful. This has impact. When was that?
Man, one time that really come to mind is when I was in Norman, Oklahoma as a professor, and the Julius Jones Foundation reached out to me, and I ended up actually being already cool with one of his people that's like his, you know what I'm saying, his best friend. People that don't know, Julius Jones is a Black man that was wrongfully convicted for, you know what I'm saying, murder in Oklahoma City, and he was on death row. Me being able to be a part of that and how emotional and how much they, you know what I'm saying, told me how much they, you know what I'm saying, appreciate how I was able to contribute. It made me realize like, damn, outside of like the accolades and shit like this, one of the reasons why I built this platform is to be able to give breath and air to stories that should be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it made me feel good that I was able to be a part of something that literally saved somebody's life. People that
Yeah.
don't know, the governor Kevin Stitt didn't call off the, you know what I'm saying, the execution literally until like hours. As a matter of fact, if you go to my TikTok, you probably can see me watching videos in the bathroom still. I'm holding back emotions right now because it really take me there. I was crying boo-hooing because I was thinking like, if they kill this man, I don't know how I'm gonna respond.
Yeah.
Because it was like, shit, we got all the evidence. We got all this, that, and the other. And it was like, that's the first time I realized, like, man, I'm doing something good. I'm doing something that is contributing to the material reality of folks. And it's not just symbolic. You feel me? When I was
Yeah.
able to talk to Julius Jones on the phone, he was able to like, hey, bro, I appreciate woo, woo, woo. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? It was different. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
shit, just like doing that. When I started having different political organizations reach out to me, like, hey, I know you ain't from around here, but we got this candidate up here. You ain't even got to endorse no Democrat shit because we know that ain't you. But would
Right.
you put us a little hit piece together on this Republican? Like, shit, anyway, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That, and then really the thing that took me there, that's more like symbolic, you know what I'm saying? Is during the pandemic, the same weekend, the first time I got invited to the BET Awards to do like my podcast I do at the time on like on red carpet,
Yeah.
Wayne Brady had hit me up on TikTok. And he had hit me up like 4-5 months before I even seen the shit. So I'm hitting Wayne Brady like months later, like, hey, bro, was just seeing this. Long story short, me and Wayne Brady exchanged numbers. Bro invite me out to his house, you know what I'm saying, with his partner. I'm out there in Malibu with the mansion, you know what I'm saying? For me,
Yeah.
it's like growing up in Texas, and when you try to think about this world that we in right now, growing up down here, it's like I used to feel like I have to be in LA or New York to be able to get any type of notoriety, this, that, and the other. So the fact
Yeah.
that I've never lived there before and I was able to be in LA, go from the BET Awards to Wayne Brady's house was like, all right, your work is not only impacting the livelihood of people, it's also reaching people that you didn't even dream of, and like shit, they really think you something.
And you are something. You really, really are something
Thank
conscious.
you.
Like of there are a lot of people in this space, but you listen, you've been my friend since I don't even remember when we first
I
connected.
don't
I
even
really
remember. I
genuinely
know.
don't even
I
remember.
feel like the first time I came to New York, I was like, "Hey, where you at?" It was shit. It was almost
Hey,
like we already knew each other. It was like
yeah, come to the
shit.
crib. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
what?
like, nah.
Chopped it up. It was we locked in.
Yeah, no, there really are some people in these spaces that I'm like, nah, no, 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 that's my brother. Like, you say
Yeah,
something, like someone say something about you, instant
yeah,
block, banish. I won't be a
yeah,
part of that.
definitely.
Like,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
boy.
I'm the same way with that. We ain't going for no Olay. We ain't going for no Olay slander over here. Goddamn,
Yeah.
you take that trauma bonding shit with the suckers you trying to trauma bond with somewhere
I'm
else.
like, over
You trying to
there.
trauma
I'm like,
bond. You
not my
trying to
brother. I'm
what?
like,
You trying to recruit the I hate consciously I hate Olay clique. You trying to build a clique off of hate of me. Boy, you got
yes.
me feeling real good right now. You got me
And
feeling like I'm the
listen,
man, goddamn. Because I
you
don't know about
gotta
you. I care about you.
you gotta appreciate and celebrate the people in the space that like are really about what they say they're about. You know what I mean? Like who really are that. And you're not just that online, but like in real life, like you are somebody. I'm like sometimes I never take for granted that my friends and the people I could bring on Olay and Friends and I could do stuff with are people that are in high demand themselves. Like these are busy motherfuckers with their own huge platforms and stuff. When I say, hey, conscious, come be on Olay and Friends, man. Come on, right quick. Let's talk about
Yeah.
this or whatever.
Yeah,
You come in.
I ain't doing nothing. I'm free. Yeah, yeah, we can do it, man. We can do it. I think that it's important that people in our space network in a way where we trying to create relationships with people that, you know what I'm saying, is around what we doing, you know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
always try to, latch on to people that's already been in the industry for hella
As
long. You know what I'm
Issa
saying?
Rae, as our girl Issa Rae, as we put it full
I was
circle.
thinking about it. I was thinking about it.
Hey,
I was thinking about
build
it.
with who's with us, not trying to
Yeah.
just try to jump up here. Like build with the team we got, and we create great things when we do that, right? Like, and
Yeah.
it shows how many of us there are. I think like the part I love the most about us all collaborating together is we're all always being gaslit that there is not only that there's no space for any of us, that there can only be one, but we're simultaneously told that there can only be one, and also that there's a scarcity, that they can't find anybody to fill that one, right? And it's like, that's crazy, because I know
I know 100.
nothing but.
I know 200 people right now.
I said right now, I could find 6 different Negroes for every episode.
Like, right now. But I think that when the first time I ever dealt with the entire internet dumping on my ass, I got a platform on every, I got a platform on every platform.
Yeah.
First time I really dealt with it is when the entire internet decided they wanted to trivialize what Rose said she'd been through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And y'all, the episode that y'all did was, if y'all ain't checked this shit out, y'all better go check that out. They got some rich nuance, points in there. And, a lot of y'all is really running with narratives that ain't really true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the first time I dealt with being dumped on, I'm talking about every app I opened, consciously pandering brick lady, consciously black feminists can't da. That was the first time I thought, like, damn, these folks hate me so much. Maybe I should get this shit up, man. Maybe I go back this, that, and the other. And that's what they want me to do. So I don't want to do it. But damn, these people are so loud about hating me. Are they justified? Is this the perception that everybody has of me? Right. I think that for me, like, I'm not religious at all, but I feel like I'm, conscious and spiritual. I feel like I'm blessed and highly favored. And in my mind, that was the ancestors, really G-checking my ass and giving me a reality check. Because it's real easy to start drinking your own Kool-Aid and start chucking your own horn. Yeah. What was able to bring me out of, having anxiety or being a little depressed or being like, God damn, with these folks, this, that, and the other, is when I got to really go out in the world. Like, I was booked and busy all February. When I was able to go to University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, I'm walking down that little strip. A nigga seen me. Nigga almost dropped his beard. Oh my God, conscious. It's like, and it's a black man. So for me, it's like, hey, don't allow for the suckers on the internet to define how you think all black men relate to you, because it's not true. There are a lot of black men that love and fuck with you. And going to different stuff. Yes. I went to Colorado University. I went to like 12 different cities in February, and all the people that came to the event was there to give me my flowers and to tell me they value my work.
Yeah. Let me tell you what was some life-changing shit for me, and I feel like I always feel like I gotta impart this with everybody. I gave this to FD too, right? I think people don't appreciate what a disadvantage we are at as people who have, whether or not you consider as public figures, especially as the bigger it gets or whatever, where they see you as a celebrity or see you as visible. What they don't appreciate is we're not like rappers who have concerts with all our fans and we get to see all our fans and realize blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you see in the numbers, we're not there. We built these followings from our homes with the same lies and friends. We don't see those people. So we can't appreciate truly all these people who fuck with us. And you don't hear the love is not what's most vocal online. Hate is what's vocal online, right? And if you're us, right? Like in my case, my platform started coming to be in 2020, like in the pandemic. I'm living in my basement apartment. I'm building this, whatever. I don't see nobody. I have the same friends and life that I have. So if you're getting internet and also too, the bigger, because you never see those people, you never see those numbers, the bigger numbers you reach, the less you can appreciate like the lesser number, you know what I mean? Even if they're huge numbers, right? And so what really made me realize that, I feel like on the rare occasion I step out my house, like I'm in New York City, New York City is, there are 10 million people in this city, and many of them are famous and people or whatever. So I'm never in my life do I ever expect like anybody to know me. And I never leave my house now and people aren't like, but what really made me appreciate, like finally come to realize just how much people we reach and talk to was last year when I went to Beyonce's concert, when I went to Renaissance, right? Listen to me. I want you to understand, as much as I love Beyonce, I did not see that concert. The entire concert, I was staring at the crowd. I could not, every time the light would flash in that crowd, I could not comprehend how many fucking people that was in real life. And I Googled it, right? I'm like, Google, there are 60,000 people in this stadium, right? And I'm looking at how many fucking people 60,000 is. I'm like, there's no way to do something, saying something, whatever, this many fucking people and it not have, this is massive, a reverberating fact. And then I think about, I'm like, I have more than double that amount of followers on Twitter on one platform. Like, I don't consider that. I get 60,000 views on a video essay and I feel like I have a flop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not appreciating. Like dead ass. I swear to you, dead ass. And I'm like, I have to like, I swear to God, I always have to like try to remind myself at that moment, like, remember how many fucking people that is? Like,
Yeah, yeah. It made me think too. The during the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, I already had like 300,000 followers on TikTok, but I was able to hit the million mark in that. The first time I stepped out during the pandemic, me and my wife went to New Orleans for our anniversary.
yeah,
Um, I'm a country nigga from I ain't you know, I'm from small, you know what I mean? I never dreamed of going to cities that I seen growing up and people being like consciously. So the first time I stepped out and outside, like man, I'm in New Orleans. I'm being spotted by like I'm talking about man, the first person I got spotted by was this young gay man, obviously with his old white trick. Man, he
yeah.
made his white trick, take pictures of me, this, that, the other. Then I run into this group of women. They talking about I'm taking pictures. Then I ran into this group of like I'm talking about like some real New Orleans niggas. I'm talking about and it was just like this is crazy. And then when I got out there to meet you in person, I was there because I got to do a partnership with Issa Rae's company for my little short
Yeah.
film. The last scene that we doing is in Harlem. It's this dude that came outside tripping with the staff because he mad because we in front of the stoop. You feel
Yeah.
me? Hey, this black woman came, and when I say cleared that shit out, two things happened at the same time. This black woman came, you know where it is right there? That's Conscious Lee. All these motherfuckers come here and don't do shit for us. You know what I'm saying to them? He actually do shit for us. I'm talking about it went off. You feel me? Then
Yeah.
so much, the nigga said, I don't even live here. Then the girl went off even more. You don't even live here, woo woo. At that same time, while the camera rolling, I posted on my social media. This dude that I found out now, he modeling shit. He walking down the street. He see me, but he played it cool. He turned around. Hey, consciously, I'm talking about it's calling. I was like, man, I've never been in New York City in my life. This is my first time here.
And they know you.
And y'all know me, little old me. It was like, to be honest with you, it's something I'm still getting used to. Like when I go out in
Yeah.
Houston, people see me in Houston. It's like, you know what I mean? Depending, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still getting used to it. It's something
Same.
that I, you know what I mean? I feel like take getting used to.
And I get that and I feel that, but I'm like, we need to remember to have those moments. Like sometimes I was literally just saying I wish we went out more. It's funny because we're all the kind of people, it's funny, people on the internet will make you out to be like you a clout chaser, you want to be visible, you want to be this, but I'm like, well, all of us are the most reclusive ass niggas I know. Like all of us,
Never
like
dies.
literally
I'm on some
every
shit.
just recluse. And I'm like, if we went out more, I think we would be able to like really, really appreciate just how much like good we're doing and how many people really, really fuck with us and feel the positive. Like someone told me, I don't remember which one of my friends it was I had on an episode with you, and they were like, I was fangirling on the quiet, like I love it, like you know what I mean. So I just wanted to
That's how I
make
feel with Mark
sure.
on my heel. That's how I feel like, all right, bro, be regular, bro. Don't act weird. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other.
That's what Marquis said about Mark Lamont Hill on the last episode. He was like, I was in there like I'm in
Swear
there
to
with Mark Lamont
well,
Hill.
you
He was
told me he was gonna be there, but then when I got there, I still was like, I'm talking about doing the internal work. Like, all right, act regular. Don't do. Because for me, him uniquely, Mark Lamont Hill came to University of Oklahoma to speak at the George McLaren. It's a conference in Oklahoma that's named after the first black student to be accepted into the university.
yeah.
I think that I was in grad school, so I'm gonna say it's like 2015, 2014. Mark Lamont Hill had came to the University of Oklahoma and he did his fucking thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it's people in the comment, it's people that was in the stands hating on him, like, oh, he did this. I seen him up here. But to me, it was like it was inspiring, it was empowering. I found out how much he got paid. I was like, damn, the best buddy got paid for that too. But I already knew who he was. I never forget this. I'm still George C. the Great on Twitter. I
Yeah.
reached out to him and I asked him a question like, hey, if I was trying to be like a public intellectual like you, like what advice you give me? His
Yeah.
response to me was, you gotta do the work. Do the work and this, that, and the other. This was 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, I'm sure Mark Lamont, Dr. Hill speak to hella niggas on there. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
even remember that.
I don't think he remember that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like,
Yeah.
shit, it stuck with me though. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it was
Yeah.
like, Mark Lamont Hill and Michael Eric Dyson was the first two niggas in academia that I can identify with that came from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
I felt like you didn't experience sleep for dinner or you didn't came from the mud or you feel me? Them two people was the first people that really made me feel like I can be in academia and I can be in education and I don't gotta sound like them. I can sound like me. So
Yeah.
me seeing Mark Lamont Hill was like, damn, Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I knew it too because it was like shit. When you send me the little clips, I'm seeing myself as I'm talking, and I'm thinking about what I was thinking about. I'm thinking like, damn. Every time I made a point, I'm low key looking at Mark like, is he fucking with that? Is he fucking with? It? Does he disagree? Does he disagree? So
You know,
it was some shit, man.
you know what's funny? Marquise sent. I love Marquise. Was in the red box in our last episode. For those who ain't seen it,
Yeah.
Marquise, all Marquise friends were like tagging him. I seen the tags like, "Oh my god, you and Olay friends!" And I was like, did I create something that people
Nah,
will congratulate you for being on? Like the niggas say, I
nah.
was like
It's a big
floored
deal.
by that.
It's a big deal. I told you. My homeboy Damo, he did this little research and found that for most YouTubers to hit the 100,000 subscribers mark,
Yeah.
you have to have at least 1,000 videos. That's like one of the
Wow.
things that's very consistent. You have like 60,000 subscribers and you got less than 75 videos.
Yeah,
So
I
for
don't
me,
even
it's
have
thinking
50
about the
videos.
uniqueness and your engagement
Yeah.
specifically on YouTube, and it is the number speaks for themselves.
Thank you. I really felt like, listen, I have been doing everything that I do is for black people. Like that is I tell people every time you actually if you go back to my first appearance, whether it be mainstream independent media, I say it's for black people, it's for black people. I talk about everything. Everything is from a black lens, like uniquely, directly, like not made to be white gays. Like Olay and Friends is a black show. All black people, we talk about everything from the lens of how it affects the black community, right? And yet, by virtue of like being an attorney, starting on in that space, you know what I mean, as a lawyer, blah blah blah, being on mainstream news, it's like I've always had this really really large white audience, and black people were not aware of me in the same way. Like I obviously have black people in my audience, but there's overwhelmingly white audience, you know.
Yeah.
But and it really made me feel good. I feel like I've been actively trying to, okay, I need to build on Instagram. I need to build in the places where black people are. And I feel like when this Eric Adams interview came out and my Olay and Friends coming out that same weekend, and black people, that I finally have the black audience, it really kind of confirmed for me, yeah, I've been making black ass content the whole time. We just needed the black eyes on it. Like to see black people discover Olay and Friends and they're like, I love this. This 90s feels this. I'm like, yeah, I created that. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And to me, every time a major celebrity get into it, one of my mutuals, I always think about how the world is changing so much and about how a lot of us have proliferated on social media, and now we have the same capital and visibility of, you know what I'm saying, some of the biggest stars.
Yeah.
And it's a double-edged sword. You feel me? It's good
Yeah.
and it's bad, and it's got some pros and it's got some cons, but it make me think about like shit, how we gotta build together, and about how like, hey man, like I ain't trying to cause no shit, but listen, two people that actually ops. Both of them then found their ways into having personal beefs with like people on TikTok.
Yeah.
Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. For me, when that happened as a content creator, some people that are like, damn, you fucking with the mutual, like, why is you know what I'm saying? And we think like media literacy is something that doesn't, just because you've been in media, don't mean you got media literacy.
Yeah.
And like, all followers ain't created equal. I say it that. I say that.
No, that's real. That's real. That is very real.